I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, October the 8th, brought to you in part by RealMax Herd Health Programs, including the low consumption mineral that will reduce your input costs. Go to realmax.net, and while you're there, go ahead and register to win the Honda Rancher 4-wheeler. I've got impressive quotes to give you here today, and I'm going to give them to you just like Kamala Harris would. I don't know if you guys watched that debate on Wednesday night, but I tell you what, the turkey neck shakes and the scowls and all that, and just the condescending behavior that she had towards our vice president. And if you didn't know, they had a debate where our current vice president went up against the Democratic nominee for president of the United States. Of course, she's going to have to kind of ride on old Joe Biden's coattails because she couldn't get the nomination, so she has to ride on his coattails until they can get in there, and then they'll wheel him off, and she'll be your new president should the Democrats win. And I know you guys understand that she was a co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, which including many other crazy things about getting rid of airplanes and getting rid of internal combustion engines. They also want to get rid of cattle too, and they want to reduce the amount of red meat that people can eat and things like that. They want to take away your livelihood, in other words, and that's what she's for. So I know we don't add up to that many votes, and I think the lion's share of you guys that listen to this are going to vote the right way, but don't forget to inform other people that are friends with you but maybe not in production agriculture, because they take some stock in what you say, and if you tell them, you explain to them kind of think, oh, the way it's going, then maybe we can get enough to kind of keep things going like we got them. Don't forget, and this is the first time I'm announcing it, I've got a big announcement on the next feeder flash. A big announcement on Friday's feeder flash, and I want you guys to be sure and tune in because I've got a big announcement coming up. But what else was going on? We're going to get more money for fat cattle. We haven't established a price yet, but we sold a few in the Northern Plains, steady to $1 higher live, and sure $1 higher dressed, and that's just on a few early sales, and a lot of other guys holding out for more, and will likely get it if the board doesn't fail us late in the week. Southern Plains hadn't sold anything but a few on the online sale there at 108.50. Well, if they'll give 108.50 on that deal, they'll sure give 109 or 110. And I think that's what everybody's waiting for. So it's going to be good in your fat cattle arena. I've been telling you guys we got to make hay in market position while the sun's shining here, and we've got another opportunity to do it as the supplies of market ready cattle are shrinking due to the light placements during the worst of the COVID. But our grains kind of beat up our feeder cattle futures. Feeder cattle futures ended up being higher, but they would have been significantly higher if we hadn't had continued pressure from our grains. And it's not very often that right during harvest you see the grains getting higher, but still a lot of uncertainty about Friday's crop production report. That'll be a big market mover because it's already been a big market mover, and people are just getting antsy about what's going to be on there. We've seen significant sales to Asia of grain and China for the most part, and that's also affected the demand for grain. But don't worry, there's plenty of grain out there. We're not going to have a grain shortage. I tell you what, USDA or nobody else, nobody in Chicago has any idea how much on-farm grain storage there is. I tell you what, they've been packing it away there for the last several years, and nobody has any idea, and they can raise the grain prices as much as they want, and they'll keep finding it. I guarantee you there's a lot of it out there, and you guys know what I'm saying on that. But let's talk about the board on Wednesday. October live cattle futures up 97 cents at 110.17. So the cash market's trying to run it down, but it's continuing to rise even more, and we're getting deep enough in the month now they can tender for delivery, and if they don't get this cash fat market up pretty close to 110 there as far as what it was middle of the week, then we'll probably see more tenders. But December was up $1.15 at 113.10. That's not very far away. We can gain a lot of ground here between now and the end of the year. You go on out from there on your out fronts, and it was down just 7 cents to up 57, so not as volatile or as big a moves as we saw in the nearbys. Feeder cattle futures, October up 37 cents at 138.50. November up 35 at 137.87. Going out front on your feeder cattle futures, down 40 cents to up 17. So also kind of more calm as you go on the out fronts. Your fat cattle, I already kind of told you guys what was going on there, but we've had a few sales in the northern plains, steady to $1 higher live, fully $1 higher dressed. Iowa had confirmed sales of 1,900 head from 107 to 108 and 169 dressed. Nebraska about 2,000 head, all at the 169 dressed. We kind of would have liked to have seen the northern plains hold out for more money because I don't know why everybody gets so content with $1 or maybe 2 at the most. Why not gain 5 when you get the opportunity? Because they will take that much from you when they get the opportunity, I guarantee. No confirmed sales in Kansas. Like I said, a few online sales in Texas at 108.50, but just a few loads there. Box beef cutout values. Choice cuts on Wednesday afternoon up 64 cents at 216.88. Selects down $1.26 at 205.58 there. Your slaughters going along at a very good clip. Through Wednesday, 355,000 head. That's 3,000 less than last week, but 1,000 more than the same week a year ago. So that's pretty darn good. But like I said earlier, don't forget on the next Feeder Flash visit, on Friday's Feeder Flash visit, I got a big announcement to make. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DB Auction. Late in the day on Wednesday there, 141.19, actually up 21 cents with some premium type sales being held up in the northern plains. And I've got so many quotes, big quotes that I want to give you on calves and what's left of the green grass yearlings, and even some backgrounded yearlings and some big feeding type calves. I just got a lot of quotes I want to give you, so be sure and hang with me for that. But look at your big sales on Wednesday. Of course, the biggest, OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 6,600 head there. Feeder steers, unevenly steady there. You had your weaned calves, $1 to $4 higher. You had your heifers weighing under 800 pounds, $2 to $3 lower. You had kind of a weak market on unweaned balling calves, even the peewees. But the main thing on there was true feeder steers, and they would be yearlings there that they're quoting. Were mostly steady right in there. And I want to give you a big quote off some green steers right off grass. They were all black. 207 head, weighed 930 pounds at 135.75, El Reno, Oklahoma. Winter livestock, Dodge City, Kansas there, 1,900 head. We saw feeder steers mostly steady there. We saw feeder heifers $2 to $3 lower. We saw steer calves kind of unevenly steady. We saw heifer calves $2 to $3 lower, and there's just not as much demand for heifers. When you have plentiful supplies of all classes of cattle, you likely see your heifers come off a little bit, and I have heard several people note that we've got kind of a big steer heifer spread right now going into the heart of the fall run. How about Cherokee Sales Company, Cherokee, Oklahoma, Jared Herman and Company there. 2 loads of steers weighed 845 pounds at 145.75. Pretty salty, guys. How about some sales you wouldn't even think about? How about Hardin County Stockyards, Savannah, Tennessee? And you think they sell them all one at a time? No, they actually sell 4 loads in one whack sometimes. And they average 753 pounds and bring 143.50 with a lot of freight on them to get to a commercial feedlot. How about Huss Livestock Market, Kearney, Nebraska, 3,100 head there. Compared to 2 weeks ago, the steer calves weighing under 7.5 and the heifer calves weighing under 7 were steady to $3 higher. Now your bigger calves, not a lot of true yearlings, but the bigger calves weighing over 750 for steers and over 700 for heifers were $5 lower. So, you know, even though you're up there in farmer feeder country and they like to feed a big fat calf, they're still not going to give more for them because most of them do know that there's more value in those yearling types. But they did note, or Tom Walters there, my good friend, he did note that there was some particular weights weighing up in the 8s there where there were spots $4 higher, and I bet those were on some cattle that had some condition to them, or maybe a true yearling that was sprinkled in there with that big calf run. But awful good sale there at Huss Livestock Market. I want to give you a big calf quote out of Kearney, Nebraska there. 50 head, 516-pound steer calves at the Huss Livestock Market bring $172.75. Wow. How about a market over in Iowa? Bloomfield, Iowa. Bloomfield Livestock Market there. The Schooley family there. How about 70 head, 566-pound steer calves? $178. Goodness. How about Green City Livestock Marketing? Green City, Missouri. That's north central Missouri there in the Green Hills. 75 head, 756-pound steer calves. Good feeders though, $156. Wow, that is a big quote. But then I've given you all these big impressive quotes, and now I'm going to remind you that Bassett had a big heavy feeder special there. Oh my goodness, now we have to listen for this. Bassett Livestock Auction, Bassett, Nebraska, around 4,000 head there. Awfully good sale. Compared to 2 weeks ago, the big feeder cattle sold steady to $4 higher compared to 2 weeks ago, guys. And they didn't have a lot of the fancy calves, but I know that a lot of times they'll skip sales, but they've got a sale the next 2 weeks, and they'll get into some of those fancy big strings of ranch calves up there at Bassett. So be sure and stay tuned for that. But I want to give you some quotes out of Bassett there on your steers. They had about 450 head of the 8-weight steers that averaged 857 at 147.38. Averaging that, weighing 8.5, that's $6 over what your index value is at 50 pounds heavier. It's unbelievable. How about 1,450 head of 9-weight steers in Bassett? I mean, that'd be a huge run for most sale barns. 1,450 head. They had that many 9-weight feeder steers there. They averaged 955 at 140-192. How about some heifer quotes? 395 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 765 at 140.59. 746 head of the 8-weight heifers averaged 844 at 139 even. And 540 head of the 9-weight heifers averaged 927 at 134.21. But the big quote I want to give you from Bassett's impressive auction was 272 head of big heavy feeder steers, big yearlings there, weighed 10 1/4 at 137.50. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.